Should you stop pursuing it because it's a bad concept? No, right? Because if you don't pursue it, how will you learn in order to create your next business to be the most successful business, right? So that learning is required. Right now, how hard you fall is up to you, right? It all depends on how much have you invested, how much have you put in everything, how much have you not validated. It all depends on how hard you will fall. So there's a process where you can soften the fall and make sure that you get the best learnings out of it in essence, right? But 20%, I would say, of the businesses are supposed to fail. So it's okay to fail, right? We can't look at them and say, oh, shoot, that's a failure, right? No, they are supposed to fail, and glad that they failed in the first 2 years. It's worse for the businesses who failed in the 5 years, that
Hmm.
45%. That's a sad story.
Hello everyone, this is Harpreet. Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is very excited episode. Like I have a very special guest with me. He's not only the CEO and not only the founder of the TheAppLabb, but he's also one of the top Canadian immigrant, and he has also chosen as the entrepreneur of the year. And if you see like the awards he has gained in throughout his journey is like so the list is so long, so that you can say like his resume is just too big to even start with for the introduction. So just please welcome with me Mr. Kundan Joshi. How are you, sir?
Good, Harpreet. Thank you for having me here. I'm super excited to be on your show as well. Really
Oh,
looking forward to our conversation.
I'm also like very excited for our conversation. Like I said, like you have a resume like just too big to even start with for the introduction. And you are the CEO and founder of the company, the App Lab. The company like who employs, I believe, more than 100 people. And the company who actually helped more than 500 fascinating companies, including like big names, Hudson Bay, Samsung, Kia Motors. Like, so if we have to tell in a simple, like easy verse, you are a real big deal. So really excited to have a conversation with you, and I'm pretty sure the conversation, this video is going to help so many young entrepreneurs, young minds out there who are going to listen to us on podcast or going to watch us. So thanks again, Kundan, for coming on the show.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me, Harpreet. And this is these are the kind of opportunities that I'm looking forward to, right? When I was growing up, when I was a young entrepreneur, once back in the day, I mean, I got help, I got advice, I got feedback, and that has helped me be who I am. So it's my responsibility to give it back. And if I am able to provide some inspiration, provide some tips to young guys out there who are looking to be entrepreneurs, take control and charge of their dreams. I'll be blessed to do that.
Definitely, like that. That's awesome. That's why I'm fascinated for this interview. So before we start having this detailed conversation, like you already talked about your childhood, but tell me like how you step into this software field, this massive industry.
Yeah, so software field, my dad was an engineer, so engineering was something that I guess was in me. As I was growing up, I wanted to be a doctor. I realized that I couldn't be a doctor because I've always been a vegetarian. I care about animals. I couldn't do dissection. So stupid reason, but I couldn't do it. And hence I was like, okay, there's no way I can be a doctor. So engineering was the second option. And I was fascinated by technology, to be very honest. Right from childhood, I always enjoyed playing with gadgets, new things. So I was excited by it. So I was interested that, okay, let's see what this technology is all about. Maybe that's where I should go. So I pursued, I did my first year engineering in India, in Mumbai. And then my parents moved to Canada, and I continued and completed my engineering, software engineering from Western University, not too far away from Toronto here. And yeah, that's how I got into software. To be very honest, it was just, I guess if you see your dad is an engineer and you enjoy technology, you want to be an engineer as well. The entrepreneurship part is a totally different story, though. I mean, I didn't anticipate to be an entrepreneur. I didn't expect to be one. I was just planning to, okay, be an engineer and do whatever an engineer does. I mean, at that time, I didn't even know what they do in that sense. But yeah, entrepreneur is a different journey. I mean, I stumbled into a summer job. That's the only summer job I could get, which was as a salesperson. And I was doing sales for Rogers high speed internet, and I was really good at it because I was enjoying talking to people. I was enjoying the fact that I'm actually directly helping people. At that time, I was selling high-speed internet. And because I enjoyed technology, I could talk to these people who couldn't really see the advantages that internet could bring in their lives. And I just enjoyed sort of painting that picture. Hey, you could do this. Hey, you could talk to your son who lives far away from you. You could do so many different things. You can send an email to different people. So I just enjoyed being part of the solution, providing that solution. And so I got into sales. I was great at sales. And that opportunity led to an entrepreneurial opportunity where I set up Rogers High Speed internet mall kiosks in London, Ontario, where I was studying, and I was managing those during school, and I just enjoyed it. And then when I graduated, it was sort of putting two and two together. Hey, I'm in software technology. I mean, I enjoy doing it, and I'm enjoying sales and entrepreneurship. Let's combine those together. And I sort of got into this field of being a technology entrepreneur, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and then like you started the App Lab, but I also know like you also founded other companies as well. You are also part of the other companies, but has your vision changed till now? Like since you started the App Lab and till now the present, like has your vision changed of providing value in your clients, or maybe the has the ways of helping changed till now? You think like there's some kind of change came?
Oh, certainly. I mean, as you grow, as you get more experience, as you learn new things, that perspective keeps changing, and many ways adding on to what the foundation was. So to begin with, I mean, I just enjoyed being an entrepreneur. To be very honest, I enjoyed the freedom of being an entrepreneur. I enjoyed again sales and giving that value directly. I felt a sense of freedom that I could directly give value to someone and see that smile on the face or see the difference I've made. I enjoyed that freedom about being an entrepreneur in essence, to be very honest. And yeah, how I gave value obviously changed. I mean, it was about I care about technology and I see how technology can benefit people, so I can provide that value. That was sort of at the high level, but that has evolved over time, right? I mean, for like today, I mean, for me is more about how aligned is every single individual in my organization to the purpose of our organization. And if I'm doing that, taking care of that at that granular level, then the overall vision takes care of it itself, right? And our vision at the App Lab is very similar in terms of how we started in many ways. Our vision is to create a positive impact in the world through technology by building great experiences. So that's what our purpose is in essence. That's what our vision is, and that purpose, as long as I find people who agree with that purpose, who are aligned with the values that are required to achieve that purpose, I mean, that's all I need to take care of. But you know what? At the inherent level, I mean, uh, giving value, helping people, having that compassion. I mean, those are sort of the key traits that got me started into the
Mhm.
business, and those are the key reasons why I continue to being in there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
by being on the platform, I'm blessed to be on the platform that I have. I'm blessed to be part of an organization that has been successful over the years, that I get opportunities like these, right? Like being on your show and having an opportunity to help people or having a conversation with say one new student, a new international student, or a young graduate, or a new immigrant, or someone who really needs help. I'm blessed to be in a situation where I can provide that knowledge or provide any opportunities and so on. So you know, it's that core of helping people, really creating value, in many ways stays the same.
Definitely, definitely. And like during you were like talking, like a question just stuck in my mind, and I thought like, okay, this is a very important question. So I wanna like see from your own perspective. Now you have, like I said, you have helped, your company has helped like more than 500 fascinating companies, including very big names. But when someone came to you with their problem and they need your help, I just want to see your from your eyes, like how you see that problem and how you think like how me and my team should tackle this problem and provide a solution and meet their expectations.
Yeah, certainly. So I mean, when someone comes with a problem, the first question is to validate the problem, right? So we'll start asking questions. I mean, see, the thing is, uh, through our experiences, we realize opportunities that come about, right? And we can either decide to do something about it, create a task action item for us to do it, or start a business to do it, or take a job to do the same, right? So there are different ways that we can go about solving different problems in essence. In order to create a business around it, in order to create a product or an app that we do, it's important that the app is scalable. It's important that technology allows you to scale your idea. Technology allows you to take this, hey, you know what, I could help one person, but wait a minute, if million people have the same need, maybe I can help a million people, and technology can enable me to do that, right? So there's the power of that scale, but at the same time, in order to go through the investment of seeking that power, of building that technology, you really need to see the ROI, or the return on investment, in essence. So in order to be in that stage where you really see that, hey, that problem, or that problem that I want to solve is really a problem worth solving, is really worth creating an app or a technology product around, is really worth creating a business around. There are certain processes to walk through that, in essence, right? A simple way to put that process is validation. If you have a problem, or if you have a solution in your mind, let's validate that. Let's verify that. Let's make sure that it actually is correct, in essence, right? So someone comes and says, I think that all people coming to Canada have this problem and I want to solve it, right? Like,
Yeah.
great. I'm glad that you're planning to solve this problem. Now let's validate that. How many people have you asked if they actually have this problem? What version of that problem have they expressed to you? What do you think are the current barriers? What are the current solutions to solve that problem, and where are they falling short, in essence? Now let's look at your solution. How is your solution to that particular problem unique? How is that providing a real option for those people that you're trying to help, in a way that's going to be sustainable, that's something they're going to enjoy, that's something going to really take them to where you need them to be, like better life, better journey, better experience, better ability to solve a particular problem in their lives, or whatever that might be, right? And then the third part is product market fit. Okay, fine. We validated, problem makes sense. The problem exists.
Yeah.
The solution makes sense. The solution is a good solution. Now let's look at the market. How many people really have that solution? How big can you make this? How is it 1,000 people in Toronto, or 1,000,000 people across Canada, or 100 million people across the world, right? How big is the problem? Let's validate that, in essence. Let's look at the competition associated with that. So those kind of steps allow us to sort of validate, just ask questions to ensure, what are we talking about, right? I mean, we don't like to be in a situation, whether it's the largest company in the world or a single entrepreneur. We want to make sure anything that we build, any product that we build, is going to be a huge success. If it's not a huge success, it's not worth wasting the time. Or it might be, and we might provide an option there as well. But to gauge that is important, that, hey, are we talking about $1 billion organization potentially, if everything goes well? Are we talking about $100 million organization, or are we talking about a $1 million organization, or maybe even less, right? So assessing that allows us to say, okay, you know what, this is what's worth investing. If it's $1 billion idea, this is what you should invest right now. If it's a $100,000 idea, maybe you shouldn't invest anything right now, because you can get a job and make that money faster by getting a job. Why do you need to create a business, right? So that's, in essence, at a high level, the processes.
So, like, in other words, like you say, it's not like if anyone can come to you with the problem and with the solution, like, you're gonna invest your time and your money, resources in it. Like, you're gonna first validate and see, like, is it worth putting your time with, right?
Well, it's more about, is it worth putting their time into it, right? Or their money into it, right? I mean, if they have whatever, they have savings, or they have investment or whatnot, we want to make sure that they're putting it at the right place, right? I mean, we are in the business of creating value, right? So we don't want to take $5 from you and make it zero. We want to take $5 from you and make it 500 million, right?
Scale.
So that's the goal here, right? So the scale is important. If it's just, I mean, if you have $1,000 to invest, and if you just need $2,000 from it, or $1,050 from it, there are a lot of different options to do that. There
Mhm.
are
Definitely.
GIC bank accounts where you can put the money in, or buy some bonds to do that, right? You don't need to really do it that way. So are you really, is your goal to really create massive value, really help a lot of people, or really create an impact, or create a large business out of it? Then it makes sense to invest in technology in that sense, right? Or for your business, how can technology, you already have an existing mid-size large business, how can we really help you improve your operations or create that value, or add a new product so that you are able to create better value for your existing customers or new customers? All those situations, like, again, even then we are sort of really understanding where that value is and how can we create that value. And then it makes sense to even talk about how much should you invest in the value, right? If
Mhm.
you don't know, if you can't even, I mean, it's speculation, obviously. I mean, you're still, I mean, it's speculation based on a process, based on, okay, you know what, all the external factors make sense. Internal factors still stay. How hard we work, how good of a product we build, how well can the client sell the product or market the product. Those are all controllable factors which we can always work on. Things that are out of our control, it's better to always assess them and then decide whether to take that challenge challenge or not, in essence, right? Once you take the challenge, then it's all controllable. Then you just try your best and do whatever you can.
Of course. And like, thanks, Kundan, for sharing that. So now we get this side of like from your side as a CEO, but now I also like wanna see the situation from the other side, like who is a young entrepreneur who's just starting out, or maybe small business owner, right? Just as a beginner, in very broad sense, what you would say, like, what's the first thing anyone should do before starting their business, like in very broad sense? I know like it's going to take very much time, but what do you think, like what's the first step should be to open a business or to start a company?
Exactly what I said, pretty much. I mean, the first question they should ask
Yeah.
is, what value am I providing, in
Mhm.
essence, right? I mean, see, there are businesses that are successful without adding value, right? I personally feel that they are not sustainable. In today's economy, in value economy is the sustainable economy. So in order to really create a successful business, the first question that any entrepreneur should ask, in my opinion, right, is what value are they creating? And in order to create value, the same questions that I posed are important for them to pose to
Yeah.
themselves, right? What problem am I solving? Who am I solving the problem for? Let's validate that. Does that problem really exist? Have I talked to enough people? Maybe I'm facing the problem. How many other people like me, or I've seen someone face that problem? How many other people like that person are facing the problem? And let's really understand the problem. If you're building a product, if you're solving a problem, you need to be really in the shoes of the person who's facing that problem. Even if you are facing the problem yourself, you
Yeah.
still need to step in the shoes of everyone else who's facing a problem. And they might have their own versions of that problem, or own versions of different solutions that they have sought, or own version of how that problem has created an impact, negative impact on them, and so on and so forth, right? So really need to step into those shoes is very important, and step back, really understand, observe, understand that, and then say, hey, you know what? Okay, now I understand the problem. Now, in the same process, if you keep that customer at the center of it, it's really easy for you to validate your solution as well. Having conversations, trying to figure out, and I mean, some people will be careful about what they reveal because they care about the intellectual property and so on, which is fine. But solving a problem there's no intellectual property to that, right? I mean, you're just trying to simply solve a problem. To validate a solution doesn't mean that you need to validate an app idea. You're just validating a solution, right? Just by having conversations, understanding the perspective, understanding what solutions they've sought, understanding how can a particular problem be solved, and they might give you a solution and you can validate, okay, is that solution same as my solution, right? That curiosity is extremely important as an entrepreneur, in essence, right? There are two factors that are extremely important. One is that curiosity, and the second part is coachability. You're, as an entrepreneur, if you feel that, you know what, I'm very smart, I really understand everything really well, that's why I'm creating a business, I would not recommend that approach, right? The where, I mean, there's a great statement by a gentleman called James Gardner. What you learn when you know it all is what matters, right? So
Mm.
whenever you get that feeling that, oh, I think I know it all, that's the time to step back and think, okay, wait a minute. I probably don't know it all. Let me see what else there is to know, right? I mean, you need to, as an entrepreneur, I would argue as anyone, but let's say because we are talking about entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur, that's one of the most important qualities, to constantly seek knowledge, seek learning, never ever feel in your journey, regardless how successful you get, or regardless how early you're starting, that I know it all or I have all the knowledge. No, you don't. No one knows. No one has infinite knowledge. There's infinite knowledge in the world, and no one does have that. No one has that. So we need to constantly be seeking to know that, to understand, to learn, to observe, to try and grasp as much as possible. But most importantly, have an open mind, right? I mean, rigidity and stubbornness comes when we start feeling that, oh, looks like I know it. Like, I don't need your opinion. I don't need to understand your perspective. I know it, right? So that's one thing you should always stay away from, especially as a young entrepreneur, because that's where your journey starts. But regardless of where you are in your journey, you need to have that open mind. And that open mind is for knowledge, and that open mind is related to people, right? I mean, always, because entrepreneurship is about solving that problem and creating value and all of that stuff. But at the center of it, it's about people and how you build those relationships. How are you non-judgmental in your relationships? Are you compassionate in your relationship? Those aspects are very important, because when you start building a team, when you start having partners in your organization, those attributes will really help you get synergized, be really understanding of each other, because you need to value each other's perspectives and opinions.
Mhm.
If we build a business saying, I have a great perspective and I'm going to build a business to prove this perspective right in the world, that's fine place to start. But as you go through the journey, it's very important to value all different perspectives and embrace them, right? We all have different opinions. All have our own thoughts. By what happens is we usually start thinking that my thought is the right thought, your thought is the wrong thought, and we start like having those conflicts with each other, right? The truth is, there's a reason why each person has their own perspective.
Yeah.
As a team at the App Lab, I can tell you, we have extremely diverse perspectives, different backgrounds, different thought processes, different upbringings, different personalities, but similar values, right? Because all of these people from all diversities come together and they have the same values. They all are good people. They all are caring people. They all want to do something good. Like, those values bring them together, and they're able to be on the same table. And when they share something, the other person is like, oh, wow, I never thought that someone could think that way. That's very interesting. Let me ask more questions. Let me try and get a better understanding of it. And when that kind of a foundation begins in terms of collaboration and whatnot, magic happens. There's like, oh, wait a minute. My perspective and your perspective are not against each other. They're great together with each other. And now let's seek for more perspectives that can solidify it even more, right?
Kundan, like, that's why, like, I'm saying, like, this is so interesting. Like, this is so interesting talk. And you mentioned that curiosity and coachability is like one of the very few important things if someone is starting out.
Yeah.
Now, I have another question again. If someone has a business, right? What do you think is the right time to scale that business and start hiring more people? What do you think, like, when is the right time? Like, say someone is solopreneur, like some single entrepreneur, or maybe has a small team, but with the working with a small team, he can maybe have a more control on their action. But again, like, if he or they can start expanding their team by hiring the talents, right? Surround themselves with the talent, then maybe they can put themselves as a driver of the company and put the company into the right direction. What you will say that when is the right time for a small business owner to start expanding and to start hiring more people?
So my opinion on that is as soon as possible, right? I would say there is no good time to say, I don't want to hire more people. I don't want to find ways to expand my team, to bring in perspectives that are more important, to bring in skills that I don't have, right? And it goes back to the same mindset that I talked about in the previous question, right?
Yeah.
Having that open mind is very important. There's one other factor that comes in very handy and very important is ability to embrace failure, right? The issue when you said, right, and that's very true. I mean, most solopreneurs or early entrepreneurs will feel that need of control, right? And why is that need of control? The need of control comes from, uh, sorry, did you lose me? Okay.
No,
The
no.
need of control comes from from the need or the fear of failure. If I hire a new person, what if they mess things up? What if my business
Yeah,
goes down, right?
yeah.
But the truth is, it's okay to fail, because what you are labeling as failure, right, is learning. And when you stop, when you control things around you that stop you from embracing the potential of failing, which is
Mhm.
just a label. There's no such thing as failure in the world. There's no such thing there's no document that tells you, Harpreet, if you do A, B, C, D, it's a failure. Or if you do these things, it's a failure. There's no such thing. There's no document. It's not written in any of our religious texts. It's not really written in our constitution. There's no definition of failure, of what constitutes a failure. Failure is in our mind, right? Why does failure come in? We feel others will think it's failure. We associate it's our fear of being judged by others, by family, by our friends, by the society where we are creating our own brand in front of, where we are trying to show, hey, guys, I want all of them to feel I'm successful because I have done it. I have my own business now. I don't want them to feel that I've failed because I'm trying to prove them wrong. I'm trying to prove that I'm someone. And that's why I've created this business, right? That fear of failure, most of us start our business with that fear of judgment and
Mhm.
that fear of failure. When we go in there, what happens is that fear of failure will make us do actions and activities like, let me not hire too many people
Mhm.
because what if they mess up? What if my business fails? Those activities stop us from learning. When you hire a new person, sure, you'll have to coach them. The questions they will ask will help you learn a lot more about your business. The questions that the perspectives they will bring in will help you learn a lot more about what that person needs to know. A lot of times we start business saying, I know Apple says it. Apple said customers don't know anything. So I'll create the product, they'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
It's He said it for the right reasons. We interpret that in the wrong reason. We feel I don't need to ask customers, right? I'll create a problem and I know what's right, and I'll just create the product or I'll create the service and essence. The truth is they may not know the solution, but they know the problem. If you don't even want to ask if they have the problem or not, it's not going to work, right? But back to your question, I mean, so the earlier you do it, the better, right? I mean, see, the thing is, it's extremely difficult for very small businesses to succeed over time, right? As a small business, as a solopreneur, as a I mean, solopreneur is a bit different concept. If you just want to be a freelancer, in a way, you're being a contractor. I mean, it's like a job, but you want your flexibility. That's okay, right? But if you're creating a business, right, which has assets, which has where you have few people, even if it's two people or three people, whatnot, right? If you think, hey, I want to create a business that's steady, right? You know what, keeps on giving me whatever, makes a revenue of $1 million, half a million, whatever, on a year-over-year basis. That's not possible. This, if you're planning to do this in your business, what's happening with inflation? What's happening with all other factors?
Mhm.
I mean, so you think that it's steady,
Your
actually you're going down
yeah,
because everything is going up, right? Your costs are going up,
yeah.
the inflation is going up, and if you want to do a steady business, it's going down, right? So the concept of a non-scalable small business is totally different, right? I mean, yeah, you could do this as a business, and now it's aligned.
Yeah.
Now that's a steady business. That's not a successful business because
They're
it's
not
still
making
aligned
profit on it.
with, you're still not making money, you're still not making profit, but it's okay. At least you're keeping it sustainable. It's still okay. This is not okay.
Yeah.
This is still okay. Ideally, as a business to succeed, you need to put everything, whatever is possible, to make it like this. You know why? Because even this is not true. When it comes to a business, it's this.
Okay.
And because it's this, you will go here. And if you go here, if you go here from here, what was the profit? How are you able to sustain being here? But if you go from here to here, even if you go here, you will come here. That's life, right? Whatever goes up will come down, will go up again. Why will it go up again? Not because it's meant to, because if you go down,
You go,
the
sir.
learnings that you get from being there, those will actually make you far superior leader, far superior business than you were when you were here. And that's why when you're here, you will go much higher from there in essence. And then you'll come down again. And guess what? Even more learnings. And then you'll go even further up from that, because as with those learnings, you're a much strong leader, a much stronger business than what you were before in essence. So in order to create a business, it is going to be like this. Hence, you need to put everything into it. You need to get as many good people in your team as early as possible. Make sure be humble about what you know, but be humble about what you don't know. Be realistic about what you don't know, and try to get people, especially for the key skills that you need in your particular business. Get the best people possible. Don't compromise on people. Best skill set, best attitude. Don't, I mean, be comfortable that it's your idea, right? Don't feel the threat that, oh shoot, this person is smarter than me. What if I have a threat? That threat is why, because of that fear of judgment. Oh shoot, people will think that I have my CTO or my whatever partner is smarter than me. Well, people don't care. People are looking at whatever. People are doing their own thing. They don't care about what you're doing. And even if they care, say something about what you're doing, it shouldn't matter to what you are doing, right? You're doing it for your own reasons, for your own purpose, for your own vision in essence, right? So getting the right people around you as soon as possible will help you grow. Even if you fail in your first business, your second business, your third business, your fourth business, your fifth business, if you failed in the right way, getting the right people, solving the problem, always be wanting to learn, not being blinded by this label of failure, you will grow so much that your sixth business will be the most successful business you could have even imagined, in essence, right? So really being in that mindset is more, surrounding yourself with the right people is important. Getting as many people as early as possible. And when you look at, when you have an open mind, right? You might say, well, I can't afford to hire people. Well, okay, you know your budget, right? Okay, fine. Just keep an open mind. Maybe you'll find someone based on what you can afford or based on whatever you want, right? Just be open. If you stay close that I can't afford. I mean, I know that the starting salary for this role is 100,000. I can't afford. Well, why add those barriers, right? You know you want someone. If that person doesn't fit in the budget, that's fine. Just keep on a lookout. But you are always seeking and trying to find people, right people, to join your business based on their attitude, based on their aptitude. Those are the things, especially the attitude is the most important aspect. And then you continue growing.
This is too good, brother. And like you mentioned that the young minds, like these small business owners have the mindset of like ability to face failures. Now, very straight question to you. What you see from the other side, like, or you are in this business game like from a long time. What you see are the some of many common mistakes we made like as an entrepreneur in very early stages, and how you suggest like no these are these I like I already know, I already see so many people making mistakes, don't do this, like what you say, see those mistakes and how you suggest that we can prevent from them.
And the biggest one is what I said, right? I mean, is having the right people on your team, right? I mean, right people, right partners, those are extremely critical. The first one, obviously, is that validation part, right? I mean, so let me step back a bit. If you're not solving the right problem, or you don't have the right solution, or you're just making too many assumptions without properly giving respect to the people or the users or the companies that you're solving the problem for, you're getting ahead of yourself. You're setting yourself up for potential failure in essence, right? Which is okay, right? I use the word failure, but that's okay because you learn from it as long as you have an open mind, right? So, the first aspect is that in essence, right? Where just validate the problem properly. Make sure that you are always listening. Your ears on the ground, right? So that's an important aspect. The second part is making sure that like embrace that fail fast attitude, right? I mean, we as humans we have the quest for perfection, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Perfection is not a gift that humans have. None of the humans, right? We sometimes, our ego makes us feel that we are perfect or we can be perfect or we are perfect in certain ways or certain aspects. Perfection doesn't exist, right? That's not a term for humans in essence, and for reasons. We are very complex creatures. There's no such thing as perfection in essence. That word is not the right word to have in a dictionary, or not even the right word to have, to be something to yearn for, in essence, right? To want to have as a goal, in essence, right? So that fear of failure comes from drifting the path of perfection, which is unachievable. So you're setting yourself up for your own perceived failure, because I've said, oh, my bar is perfection, which is 100%, and 100% is not possible. Hence, I'll always fail. And if I fail in my own eyes, I'll always think of that as a failure, and I'll consider that, oh, shoot, it's fair, right? So that's important, that you're embracing whatever, and actually setting yourself up that, you know what, it's okay for me to fail, but I'd rather fail fast.
Yeah.
And the fail fast attitude, it's easy to misinterpret it as, oh, you want to make mistakes, or uh, we want to really set it up for failure. No, it's not. It's the actual opposite. Fail fast, what actually means is you're asking questions. You're trying to figure things out. When you're asking questions, what happens is, when we don't want to fail, we won't ask certain questions, because we'll be like, oh, shoot, no, I can't ask that question. If I ask that question, can of worms is going to open up, and I don't think I have the courage to face that can of worms. So let me just ignore it. Conveniently ignore. Ignorance is bliss. I'll continue on this path. I don't want to do that. But the mindset of fast failure is, you know what? Might as well open that can right now. If there's worms, I at least know that tomorrow how I can tackle those worms, or what I need to do with them, in a sense, right? So having that open mind, it's okay. I mean, I'd rather ask all the questions. That curiosity is very important, right? And I mean, an interesting part, I mean, are most of your audience from India, I would assume?
Yeah, most of the views coming from India and Canada. Yeah.
So see, from Indian perspective, right? See, and a lot of other cultures have a similar challenge as well, right? But one Indian perspective is, in our schools, right? We are told, don't question authority, right? We are told, don't question your teacher, don't ask stupid questions, don't ask questions, right? Don't ask questions to your parents. Just
accept them.
Just let it be. Accept it, right? And that the challenge is, when we sometimes take that attitude into our business. No, we don't need to ask questions. Let's just do it. There's no need for, and that I should not ask questions kills our curiosity, right? And that curiosity, the childlike curiosity, is the most precious asset we have as humans. That curiosity helps us look in different directions and try and find solutions. Solutions to problems are never linear. Solutions to problems are in every dimension possible, right? To keep that open mind to any possible solution that could potentially come and help us, we really need to look in every direction. And to look in every direction, we need to be open, we need to have curiosity. We need to be free. We need to feel our neck is free to look in any direction. We shouldn't feel concerned. Oh, no. I'm told I can't look on the right. I can always look on the left. I shouldn't be looking on the right, because right is bad. I've been told, oh, this right is bad. It's not a good thing at all, right? But no, I mean, you're free to look in any direction, man. I mean, no one's stopping you. I mean, you have full freedom, right? In India, you had freedom. In Canada, you have freedom. So you have full freedom. Those are all mental barriers, right? And it's important to break those barriers, to be curious, to have that childlike curiosity, in a sense, right? So, and when you have that curiosity, you'll ask those questions. You'll ask those questions, even knowing they may not give you what you want. They may not, they may completely be opposite of what you thought, right? And it's okay, because it's important to challenge yourself. It's important to challenge the perceptions. It's important to challenge the original mindset that you started with. It's important to challenge your comfort zone and constantly get out of your comfort zone. If you really, I mean, if your goal is to be an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur, or successful in any field, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And what does that mean? Getting out of the comfort zone means having an open mind, means not being fearful of what you could discover if you pick up the wrong stone. No, pick up as many stones as possible. Whatever, face your fears, whatever comes up, be open to it. And then we'll figure out. Then you'll figure out. You'll find a solution. You are smart enough that you can figure out what you need to do in order to do that. And if you didn't, at some point, that stone is still going to be on your path. After you have established an empire, You'll still have those stones there, but whatever stones you had figured out earlier in your career or in your business, if you had lifted them up, those stones are not going to come back again. If you don't, whatever you didn't pick, those stones will come in your path. And you will have to pick them up. You won't have a choice but to pick them up at that point. And at that time, time will not be on your side.
Yeah.
At that time, situation may not be on your side. At this time, time is on your side. Maybe because you're young, because you have time to figure out, okay, you opened the rock. Now you've picked it up. Do you want to see what's under? Do you want to really deal with what's out there? It's up to you. Now you can decide when is the right time for me to deal with it. Even like, that's ugly stuff there. I know it what's there right now. Do I really want to handle it? Now I know, but I have that awareness. Now I can learn whether if I pick the stone up, how I deal with it, or I embrace it and accept it, or I let it, whatever that is in essence, right? So yeah, so those are in essence some of the aspects that are important, some of the mistakes that that are important to stay away from. I mean, failure is the one that gets us the most. Fear is the thing that gets us the most, right? I mean, and I mean, to be very honest, I personally believe most of that fear comes from that fear of judgment, right? I mean, because that fear is associated with what other people think, and that limits us from really doing what we want to do in a sense, right? And limits us, I mean, that, and again, it's easy to misinterpret that as whatever I'm thinking is right, and hence I should just do it without caring about others. It's a totally different thing to not care about others and just doing whatever I want to do versus not being afraid, not having the fear of other people's judgment, still being compassionate and empathetic about their views.
And not
That
get
doesn't mean I don't have to go to war with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that what they say doesn't have to impact me. I'm in control of my own mind, of my own thought process, of my own mindset. That should not interfere with my mindset. Their inputs or their whatever opinions they have, they're only going to help me develop a different perspective in essence, right? So and that again, right, in partnerships, in building a team, it all counts and it all helps.
Good talk, Kundan. Now, like we're talking about the failures, and it's just that we always feel motivated and inspired from the success story. And I also like carry the same opinion as you. Like we actually learn from those failing experiences. And I'm just gonna ask you straight again, what as a CEO of the company, the TheAppLabb, could you just share one of the your maybe the experience you can say like failure, maybe you just didn't meet your own expectation or maybe the client expectation, but as a CEO, how you took that moment and how you grow from that?
Yeah, so I mean, in a very hard way, right? I mean, see, the thing is, I mean, what I enjoy about these conversations, right, is uh, see, sometimes we learn from in different ways, right? I mean, what I'm trying to provide as insight or information right now in terms of how to deal with failures, I probably had that information, just not in a way that I understood it in the beginning, right? So my biggest, I guess, point of failure that I labeled it was seeking perfection, right? I always seeked perfection. I thought it was okay to be perfect. I thought it was possible to be perfect, right? Not okay to, I thought it was possible to be perfect. And I thought, yeah, I can do that. I think I've supreme confidence in myself, and I'm pretty sure I can achieve whatever I can, right? And I can do that by myself, right? Yeah, I'll have people and whatnot, but I'm okay to do it by myself in essence, right? And that path of being constantly wanting to be perfect meant that I could not tolerate mistakes. I could not tolerate my own mistakes. I was very hard on myself when I made a mistake. I was very hard on others when they made a mistake, right? And that was the worst thing to do, right? Because that mistake was a definition against what my perception of perfection was, right? Which is not true. Perfection is not real, right? As I just mentioned. So I am the qualification criteria is unreal, unachievable, and I'm measuring my own actions and everyone, all my employees and my partners' actions against that chart and bar of perfection, right?
Yeah.
Which by itself, by the nature of it, was set up for failure. Now, the problem with that is, if I had an open mind at that point, that, okay, fine, I learned about it, let's move on, I would have failed fast. But because I was seeking perfection and I did not want to make mistakes, I failed very slowly. And that was the biggest problem with my business. Where I am right now in my business, if I did not have that mindset, I could have been at the same point probably 6 years ago or 7 years ago. That one single factor of not being open-minded about it's okay to fail. And yes, it was, I mean, it was about wanting to be perfect, but it came from the same place. I did not want others to think that I'm not perfect, that I'm not a successful entrepreneur, that I'm not doing, that I've not created a great company, right? What did that mean? I didn't ask too many people for their opinions. I
Mhm.
didn't ask for help.
Yeah.
I didn't get as many mentors as I should have, right? I didn't surround myself with the best possible team, with the most talented team, despite of their whatever perceived weaknesses and flaws, right? So all those aspects in a way slowed the growth for me, right? So it would have been very nice if I said, hey, I made this one mistake and I regret it. The truth is, because of that mindset, I made hundreds of mistakes, hundreds of small mistakes. And that caused a lot of issues with where I am at the speed of it. But you know what? The truth is, I believe in destiny, right? I believe that the reason I chose that path is because where I am right now is because the way I went through the path. If I went through a different path, I would have been in a totally different place. And if I'm happy with where I am right now, why should I question the path in the past? That's the only path that would have led me here. It would have, otherwise it would have led me somewhere else.
Mhm.
And if I'm happy with right now, why even worry about another
Yeah.
scenario? Who knows I'll be happy with it or not. So whatever happened, I don't regret it, right? Because one of the questions you asked is you felt that you could have done it in a different way. I don't
You
think
grow
so.
from it.
For my upbringing, for my experiences, that's the path that was charted for me.
Mhm.
I'm glad that I took the path because it got me the learnings that I need right now in order to be where.
Really.
As long as I continue doing the same, staying in the present, being fully present in terms of what I need to do in the present moment,
Yeah.
and continue with an open mind, just constantly learning, I think I'll create the right path moving forward as well.
Amazing talk on that. Now, like I remember, like I could be wrong, but I actually heard, or maybe I actually read from a book. It says that 20% of the business fail in their just first 2 years, and maybe 40 or 45% of businesses fail in their first 5 years. And if I'm not wrong, I believe the one of the most common reasons for business failure in these like early years is that they ran out of their capital money or they just ran out of the funds. What you would suggest to make it a scalable business or to have a business in the long term? How can a small business owner or young entrepreneurs can prepare themselves so they don't face this problem in the future?
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, the thing is, right? I mean, in a way, it's good to fail in those first 2 years, right? Ideally, in the first year, right? Because I would argue 20% of the businesses should probably fail, right? Because not every concept is great.
Mhm.
Should you stop pursuing it because it's a bad concept? No, right? Because if you don't pursue it, how will you learn in order to create your next business to be the most successful business, right? So that learning is required. Right now, how hard you fall is up to you, right? It all depends on how much have you invested, how much have you put in everything, how much have you not validated. It all depends on how hard you will fall. So there's a process where you can soften the fall and make sure that you get the best learnings out of it in essence, right? But 20%, I would say, of the businesses are supposed to fail. So it's okay to fail, right? We can't look at them and say, oh, shoot, that's a failure, right? No, they are supposed to fail. And glad that they failed in the first 2 years. It's worse for the businesses who failed in the 5 years, that
Mm.
45%. That's a sad story
Also,
because 5 years, because you suffered for 5 years, potentially for something which you could have suffered in the first year and got rid of it,
mm,
right?
yeah.
Either because you did not fail fast, you did not want to make mistakes, you somehow found a way to string it together, or you did not learn fast enough, right? That you were able to correct your mistakes and keep on improving, right? Failure doesn't mean the business is zero, right? Failure could mean, oh shoot, I'm supposed to grow 20% every year. This year I only grew 10%. There has to be something that I need to look at.
Mhm.
Oh, I grew 20%. I met me, but I really know based on the market, I could have grown 50%. So whatever that aspect is, really figuring, okay, you know what? None of that is failure, but what can I learn from here? How can I get it even better, right? So constantly being in that curious mindset, that inquisitive mindset to constantly look at where you can improve. That's important, right? Now, that being said, I mean, again, a lot of that happens because of all the factors that I mentioned to you, right? I mean, it's not easy to start a company. It's not easy to build a business. And it's definitely not easy to try and do it by one individual, right? So, which is why the right solution, the right problem, the right solution, the right team, the right open-mindedness and coachability, because one person cannot, I mean, when you start a business, I would say there are at least 100,000 different things that you need to learn in terms of skills as an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur doesn't learn 100,000 skills. What happens? Either they hire people who can cover a portion of that, and the rest, whatever haven't covered, will go away, or they decide to ignore vast majority of it. Because you can do 100,000 things, right? You can either hire people or just ignore and do whatever you can. I mean, yeah, you're burning candle, you are not sleeping at all, you're completely working hard, which is all good, right? I'm completely for working hard, but you are trying to do that without necessarily being on the right path in essence, right? And what does that mean is you're trying to learn 100,000 things, but you're only able to cover, let's say, I don't know, 100 of those skills in essence, right? So at the end of it, you have to find ways to manage that in essence, right?
Yeah.
One is by focus. When we don't have a focus, we try to do too many things as a business, either too many services, too many products, too many different audiences we want to create. All of those create clutter in our mind, right? And as a result of that, actually it was supposed to be 5,000. We created 100,000 tasks for us, right? So first in our mind, if you focus and try solve the first problem first, do a great job at it, then go to the second problem, because now you have resources in order to do that. That makes it a lot easier in essence, right? Then hiring the right team so that you don't have to do all the 100,000 things by yourself. You have people to share, but still stay focused. So there are only 5,000 tasks, and you have people who can do 5,000 tasks. Now they can do really great job at whatever task that they are supposed to do and what is aligned with their skills in essence, right? So that's one thing that's important. And a lot of times it's not possible to do that because either we are not focused, we don't have the right resources and whatnot. The second part about that is the system as well, right? I mean, there are not as many, while Canada is a great place to start a business, right? In India, I always question myself, could I have started a business in the same way that I started in Canada, right? Because I did not take any capital. I did not have any savings. I started a business saying, okay, let me sell apps to clients. Whatever money I make, I'll put back into the business. I'll sell the next app, put it in the business. That's how I started it, right? I mean, I didn't have any capital. I always think about, could I have started a business in that way in India, right? And my question is, yeah, Canada is a great place that way to start a business. It's a lot easier to start a business. Not necessarily the best place to grow a business. The ecosystem still needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of refinement in order to do that in essence. And a lot of that is vetting, right? I mean, the problem is when it becomes an easy place to start business, the negative aspect of it is those 20% that should have failed, that still come into the fore in essence, right? So the system needs refinement, to be very honest. I mean, we are creating a venture right now that helps startups and scale ups get the right capital, get the right funding and stuff like that, because we see that there is a gap in the market from that point of view. But the most important aspect from that business owner point of view is planning, right? As simple as that. Like basics of cash flow planning. How do you ensure that you have enough money or enough resources, right? Now, resources is a factor of either cash that you have in savings or investment or whatever, and the arms that you have, right? I mean, I have two arms. I'm not paying myself salary when I start my business, Okay, here you go. These two arms are worth whatever, 100,000, 200,000 a year, 50,000 a year, whatever you call it. Okay, so you have that capital plus you have 100,000. Okay, now I got a friend of mine to say, hey, you are great at doing this thing. I'm good at building this. You are great at selling this. Why don't you join my business? Okay, great. Now you got two more arms, right? So now you are 100, 200,000 in resources and you have a capital of 50,000, right? Now the planning of, okay, 300,000, how long is it going to last you? What all do you need to do till your next point of inflection of resources? Where are those resources going to come from? Either you get investment or ideally you make revenues yourself, right? How long to make that revenue? Let's be realistic about it. Let's be positive about it. Let's create those scenarios. Best case scenario, within 4 months, I'll start making revenue that, okay, fine, I've convinced my friend, he doesn't need to take salary for 1 year. He agrees with that. I've convinced myself, I don't need to take salary for 1 year. Okay, fine. So I'm okay. Both of us are okay for a year, right? Okay, that's fine. But my business still demands cash.
Yeah.
It requires whatever. It requires marketing dollars, or if you're building an app, dollars to create the app or whatever that is. So in terms of within 4 months, this 300,000 of overall resources is going to deplete. So within the 4 months, what do I need to do? I need to either generate enough revenue or get investment so
Yes.
that I hit that target in
Yeah.
essence, right? If you ignore that target, what's going to happen? It's going to eventually fail anyways. But if you hit that target and if you miss that target, then you know, okay, what do I need to do? Now I need to question. I'm not on the right path. Do I need to pivot? Do I need to switch my strategy? What really went wrong? And then accordingly continue charting that out. So that planning is very important to make sure that whatever resources you have are in line with what milestones that you have to grow the business. Take the first, when you start the business, look at that first milestone as your goal post and see how you can get enough resources to get there, right? And if you plan that way, things will align. You'll find different ways. You'll figure out solutions.
Amazing, amazing, Kundan. And we just now closing to near to our closing, and I just want to like ask one of the last questions is that you said it's not wrong to pursuing when you are like even it's gonna fail, you think like it's gonna fail in 1 year, 2 year. It's good to fail early, but it's not wrong to pursuing that thing. But what do you think as a business owner? What do you think are there some kind of red flags a business owner or entrepreneur can see in their journey during their when they're starting out? Maybe you may say like I don't know, not meeting the geographic needs, maybe not getting enough revenue coming every year, or maybe not meeting the market demands. But you would see that these are some kind of red flags you may have to take notice when you're starting out, so you don't like go all in and hit the roadblock.
So the first is the customer need, right? It starts with the customer. So really, one biggest challenge I see a lot of businesses have when they start out is not knowing who their exact customer is, right? A lot of businesses think that every person on this planet is my customer. And the reason that they feel that way, when they feel that way, is they feel everyone is like me, right? It's a very close-minded approach that everyone's like me. They're all their circumstances like me. I, or my ego, right? I'm the center of the universe. So yeah, if I'm having the problem, everyone has the problem. I can sell this to the whole world, right? So so really knowing your customer, and when I say knowing your customer, really understanding what are the characteristics of my customer, right? And a lot of times that will come out to there are 5 different types of broad customers that I have. Now let's understand the characteristics of each of those customers and then figure out which of those customers I should target. If it's more than one type of customer, you've diverted your focus 50-50 and you have limited resource, right? You only started with whatever, that 100,000 in resource capital to begin with. You have limited resource. You can't afford to not focus, right? If you have an option between two and it's 50-50, pick the 150 that you feel better against. If that fails, okay, then go to the next one. But if you divert your attention, you've already diverted your resources 50-50 and you may not learn enough about them. In the first approach, if you go all in with first, even if that was the wrong approach, at least you fully understood that they are not someone to pursue. You failed fast. At least you felt, okay, I did something, but at least no. it's obviously important in business to know what to do, but it's even more important in the initial time, in the initial wise, what not to do. So now, knowing that I should not pursue this market or this type of a customer is extremely valuable. Then for 5 years, trying to figure out a way to sell to that audience when we didn't even know that they had the problem or not, and we are still trying and being persistent. I'm persistent, I'm hardworking, I'm not gonna give up. But wait a minute, did you ask them? Did you really focus on them? Did you really understand what they need? So I would say that's the number one, like beyond doubt, right? Especially when it comes to technology businesses or technology startups. But regardless of that, your understanding of who your customer is the most important. When you know who your customer, and it doesn't come like that, right? It's experimentation. You test it, you trial tribulations, you try it out, you test it out, you get positive results, you get false positives, you get false negatives, and then you finally get enough data to say, okay, I have enough for me to have, when they say gut and intuition in business, right? The gut and intuition needs to come on top of data, because the data will never give you the full story. You still need gut and instinct on top of that data. Okay, I have data. Now I don't have, I mean, as a starting business, you may not have whatever, I mean, 100,000 or a million points of data. You might just have 100 or 50 or 200, right? So you're still making a big assumption, but you at least have some data to start with, as opposed to zero. If you have zero, then what are you basing your gut instinct on, right? Yourself, your own ego, your own experiences, your own feeling that I'm the center of the universe? No, right? So whatever that data is, okay, 100 people, and you know what? The way that they express their problem, I mean, that's the emotion, that's where the human side comes in. The way they felt about it, oh man, this is such a big problem for me. I really need a solution. So only 100 people, but I know the intensity of that problem now with those 100 people. And because of that intensity of problem, plus even if it's just 100 people or 50 people that told me that they have the problem, I think my gut tells me I should go ahead with it, in essence, right? So that basing your gut on top of that data is extremely important, and getting that data is not difficult. You just need to seek for it. You just need to have conversations. You can do surveys. You can do so many different things. You can do research, but just don't do research. Do research as your first line of research, but then actually ask questions, actually get there, right? So I would say that's number one. Capital is also number two, and access to capital is number two. One challenge which a lot of new immigrants especially have, right, is that awareness of building a good credit score, right? I didn't have that awareness. I never really focused right off the bat that here's the process of not just maintaining my credit score, but building my credit score. And this is how I need to be very careful about making sure that I build my credit history really well as soon as I land into the country and I go about things, right? And once you do that, then at least you have access to some capital that you might need initially and whatever, right? If you don't focus on that credit history or credit score part, then it becomes very challenging. Then all the doors can potentially close, in essence, right? So those kind of things are important to at least set yourself up for having some access to capital. And then it's all about relationships, man. It's all about how you can have conversations with people, provide them value, be compassionate, be always willing to give. A lot of times, see, my belief is a lot of times we don't seek for mentors or we don't seek for help is because we fear we may not be, we have that lack of abundance mentality. We feel that we may not have anything to give back to them. We may not, if they ask me for something in return, I may not have that to give that back. I might compromise myself. I might be put myself in a very a compromising or a indebted situation where I may not know how to move from, right? But when you go in with an abundance mentality, when you go with compassion that, hey, you know what? You are a big shot entrepreneur, right? I'm sure I can find some value for you, right? I mean, I need your help as whatever, as my first customer or my employer or a guide or a mentor or whatever. Same thing from a potential customer who you're seeking feedback from, whatever that is. I need your help. I know I need your help, but I'm going to give you value first, right? I'm just going to give you value because, not because it's a transaction, but I'm here to give value. So even if you don't give anything back to me, it's okay. Because whatever value you give it into the world, into the universe, right? So just if you just keep giving value out from one place, you'll get so much value that it will go a lot beyond all whatever value, perceived value you've given to every person in the world, right? So hence that act of compassion, act of just giving value is so important as a mindset, right? Just keep doing that. Just keep being at service. Keep helping out because we need help.
Yeah.
We all need help. We all need to work together in order to be stronger. I cannot be who I am right now without the amazing work for every single person in my company, right? I'm here in front of the camera and stage, but it's all because of them in essence, right? And I need them. If I don't have them, I can do all the things. I can do sales, marketing, development, design, testing, all of that. No, I can't, right? I mean, one person can't do it. And if I do it, I'll just do one app at a time. I won't be able to build 600 apps at the same time. I wouldn't take my business to where it is. And one app at a time, I would have given up long time back. It's just too hard and not lucrative to even pursue it, right? A job will be a lot more lucrative than what I would have done in that way, right? So that's very important to make sure that you have that ability to constantly give back in essence and have that mindset, and then it'll be very easy for you to ask for help because in your mind you are here to give, right? So if you won't feel guilty about asking someone for help. You won't feel guilty about asking someone, hey, can you give me your feedback, or can you guide me, can you mentor me, can you advise me? Because in your mind you know that if that person asks me for something, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Why? Out of compassion, out of humanity. Even if that person doesn't help me, I'll still be able to help that person. I have the ability, that confidence in my ability to do that. And when we don't have that confidence, we don't just hesitate in helping others, which is bad, but we also hesitate in asking for help, which is even worse.
Dude, thanks so much, Kundan. Just now, the last thing. If you have just given 60 seconds, just 1 minute to give just one advice to the listeners who are listening us to on the podcast or who are just watching us on the YouTube, what one advice you would give? The only time you got is like 60 seconds.
I mean, I would say this is the advice for anyone, right? And I mean, I prefer to put it as experience share than advice because advice is a very wrong term, right? I mean, I don't know the situation, your situation. I don't know the situation of anyone else who's listening to this. Hard for me to give advice without having the context, right? But I can do an experience share, which I think is a very relevant experience share for most people, right? We spend most of our lives either chasing the future or carrying the burden of the past. And those two, our futures, the expectations set by our future and the disappointment set by our past, limit us from doing anything that we want to. The real goal about leading your life in a purposeful way, in an effective way, in an impactful way, is in the present, is by fully focused in the present, in the right now, in the now, and giving it all. And the only way you can give it all right now, today, is when you free those chains of the fear of your future and the constraints of your past. When you free those chains away, past doesn't matter, future doesn't matter. What matters is what my action is right now, right? Sometimes we do an action which we are not proud of because we think, I have time in the future to correct it, right? I don't know. Sometimes we find a way to not focus on things that are important. We go after urgent things. We know we need to take care of someone, or we know a family member is sick and we need to take care of them, but we see an email and that's urgent, or take a phone call, it's urgent. It's from work, it's urgent, I need to take it, but that's more important. And we lose sight because I can do that tomorrow. It's okay. Urgent is more important. So our prioritization ends up being, what if I don't tackle the future? The fear of the future will kill me, right? So being in the present is the most important thing in life. And as an entrepreneur, being in the present, being fully embraced to whatever you're doing right now. If you're talking to an employee, being fully there. I was there before, where an employee is having a conversation with me. I was worried, oh shit, what's going to happen tomorrow? Will I have enough cash to survive in this business? And I'm in front of my computer sending like 200 emails in a minute to different customers, following up for payments and following up for my proposals and whatnot. And the employee is talking to me about a brilliant idea, and I'm only giving 50% or even lesser attention to that person. And that idea never really got implemented, right? So as a leader, my responsibility should have been, you are in front of me right now, either let's do it in 5 minutes, let me complete this, right? And then giving him my full attention. And if I'm giving my full attention, I can be of value to that person. I can be compassionate with that person, and magic can happen, synergies can happen. And I can be fully focused and do that and do a great job at whatever I'm doing, in essence, right? So being present is the most important quality for a leader, for an entrepreneur. And when I say a leader, it doesn't matter. I mean, entrepreneurs are not leaders, or only CXOs or directors and managers are not leaders. We are all leaders of our own life, of our own destiny, of our family. Whether it's a collective leader or whatever that is, we are all leaders in our own way. And in order to be an effective leader, you need to be in the present, and don't worry about that fear, the great fear that the future poses, because the truth is you can't control future. You can only control one action at a time that comes in the present, and each of those actions together, especially if they're all in the right direction, all towards positivity, all towards compassion, all towards giving value every single moment at a time, the accumulation of all of that will lead you to greatness regardless. So don't worry about that, oh shit, how will I reach that target? Plan it. Know that, hey, you know what? I need to know what path, because that accumulation is important. I need to know what my path is. I need to know what my values are. I've decided, yes, compassion is how I want to lead my life, right? I know that I want to get to those. Okay, great. You planned it, now park it aside. That shouldn't come in your daily life. Oh man, I don't think I'm going to hit my target. Oh man, I don't know if I'm going to set. No, it doesn't help. It will limit you from being fully there in the present. That will limit you from achieving those goals in the first place anyways. And the past will always create burdens about, oh shit, why did I fail? Why did I not do it that way? Why did I make a mistake? As opposed to in that moment, oh shit, I made a mistake. I've just made a mistake. What can I learn from it? Okay, I learned from it. Great. Let's move on. Next moment. Now let me be best in my moment. What happened was in the past moment. I learned from it. Now I'm fully there, fully present, breaking from the constraints of the future and the past. So there you have it.
Your verse, amazing verse. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Kundan. So, what's the best way for the listeners to reach out to you, like if they want to connect you on the internet? Is there any specific social media
LinkedIn.
platform you want?
LinkedIn is the best. Yeah, LinkedIn is the best way. You can follow me on Twitter as well, but either follow or even add me as a friend on LinkedIn. That's my main platform where I talk to people, as well as I share my updates and posts and all of that stuff. So yeah, LinkedIn is the best place.
Thanks so much, Kundan. Thanks for giving us your
And our website, theapplab.com.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Kundan, for giving us your time. Thank you. I hope like you
No
have.
problem. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
I hope for I hope for your success in the future, and hope like you are continue helping us in the future as well.
Oh, thank you, Harpreet. And I wish you the same. Wish you a lot of success in the future, a lot of happiness and good health to you and all the viewers, and wish you the best. I mean, 2020 was a very challenging year in many ways, but you know what? The biggest challenges provide us the biggest learning opportunities, right? So if in 2021, if in the now, we can learn how to really learn from the past, learn from the challenges we've faced, and take it in a positive direction, take it with a positive mindset, we all will ensure that 2021 and 2022 are the best years of our lives. So wish everyone the best on that.
All right. Thanks so much, Kundan.